So you might want to cut off a little bit of mud, like around the low mids. You might want to cut that out a little bit. Like, let me show you the difference here, right? So this is the track without this EQ, without me taking out a little bit of the mud. And this is with EQ. Did you hear that difference? This is without, and this is with. Just make sure you're careful with your low mids. Another trick that also helps is if you're using Maximus, what I like to do most of the time is I like to consolidate my low end and just merge the stereo field. It's almost like I'm doing mid-side processing, but I like to merge the image of my low end and then increase, widen the highs and maybe a little bit of the mid-range, but just to tighten my low end. And I'm going to show you another trick as well that will help you to also get a really nice mix. Okay, so I see everything here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make sure I move my Podolsky sounds together like that. I'm just going to shift them over. Shift over like that. Okay, so I know that that's my bass, so I'm just going to title it bass, and I'm just going to put a name here and call it bass, so I know that that's the bass. We don't want to do anything to that at the moment. So everything else that is not the drums and that is not the bass, we're going to select and add all of that to a bus. Go to track routing, create submix, and I'm going to call this synths like that, and I'll just put on a bright red or something like that. And then with all these sounds, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut off, well, not necessarily cut off, but I'm going to tame most of these sounds. I can just solo all these sounds and just make sure they play. Do you see the build up right there in the low mids? Do you see that build up there? There's a lot of build up right there, so I need to tame that and cut my bass all the way down like this. And maybe cut out a little bit of the high end like that. Because you see, when you add a lot of instruments to your track, strings, synths, and the likes, you have a lot of build up in the low mids. And when you play it in the club, it makes a huge problem for you. So it ends up not being really clear. So you just need to tame around 300 hertz here, just to tame it a little bit. So I'm just gonna turn off this EQ and I'm gonna play all these instruments without the EQ. You know what? Let me just come out here and just play it right here where everything is playing. Okay, and now with the EQ. Did you see that difference? So that's what I just did. I just EQ'd, just rolled off a little bit of problem frequencies, because on this end here we have the kick right here on the bass, and we have our bass as well on the subs. That's going to dominate right there. So we just want to tame our low mids because we have a problem. The mids will be fine. So it just depends with how many instruments you have in your track. You can just try and tame your low mids a little bit, and also on your master, just try and consolidate or merge your low and just widen your highs. So this is without this EQ. And this is with. if you feel like I took out a lot of energy, and if you feel like you took out a lot of energy from the track, you can just boost it a little bit, like a few dB, like maybe 3 dB, and yeah, Jansen, the difference is huge. Yeah, if you have like, if you heard the difference, it's huge. It makes a big difference when you're playing your track like in a really big sound system. It makes like a lot of difference. Like 1 dB is a lot if you're like in a big PA system.